Sosa, Sosa, bang, bang. Only time I'm going to do it. It's just too catchy. I am too old. That hurt my shoulders. But man, Ricky Sosa is cool. Let's talk about it right now.
Uh-oh.
Yes, boy!
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Like, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Somebody hit somebody with a pie. Do something.
Giovanni yelling we're out of time as we go off the air.
Giovanni yelling a lot of things tonight.
And welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mark It Down podcast. I am James Gisanti. It is Thursday night, so you know what that means, even though it has been a while. Welcome to the Impact Zone, where we cover all things TNA and Impact. Guys, I'm sorry. It's been a while. The last few weeks, I wish I could tell you it's me being busy. I wish I could tell you it's me lifing. But the truth is, I've had a hard time keeping up with TNA. I haven't been super crazy about the product. I needed a little bit of a break. I have been watching for the most part. I've been keeping up, but I needed a little bit of a break from the product. I told myself I wanted to come back. I came back tonight, and man, this was a fun episode to come back to. Between an excellent main event with Moose and Cedric Alexander in that street fight, the debut of Ricky Sosa, and we're going to talk about it, and of course, my beloved Hardy Boys. This was a very, very fun episode. So I'm back in. They've got me. I'm here. I'm invested again. I'm ready to get hurt again. But I think it's going to be worth it. Now, as you guys know, here in the Impact Zone, it's just me. I don't have Rev. I don't have a producer boy. I don't have anybody backing me up. So I got to do everything by myself. And that includes social media, which, go check us out. You know the deal. Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, X, TikTok. We're all over those places. But while I'm here by myself, I got to go check those things. I got to make sure everybody's watching everywhere. And it's only going to take a moment. It's going to be a little awkward, as I'm typing. But for the most part, you just got to put up with it. You love me. It's okay. But I don't know where to begin. I guess we could go with the debut, because by God, is he someone we've got to really keep an eye on. But Ricky Sosa, who has been taking the indies by storm. Every indie show I go to, the number one name that I keep hearing, where is he? Why isn't he booked on this show? Is Ricky Sosa. The Belgian wonder coming over here and just wowing the audiences, having an incredible entrance, getting the crowd so invested. Just off the entrance alone, half your battle is done. Getting in the ring, having a fun match against Brad Attitude, who, Brad, I just got to tell you, Braditude was right there. I'm not telling you how to do your thing. You've been in the game a long time, apparently, but Braditude right there. Just incredible. Two names becomes one name, really. Braditude. Just think about it. Just think about it. But anyway, I've been hearing Sosa's name. I knew that this debut was coming, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to check him out elsewhere. I wanted to see what he was going to do on TV, and boy, did this kid deliver! Fun match, fun energy, quick match, short match, which is the right way to go. You don't want to overexpose him. You don't want to give too much. I looking him up. He's 21 years old. The kid is still in braces. Legit, not joking. That's not me being silly. The kid is legitimately in braces, so young, and already a commanding presence, both with the crowd and in the ring. Hitting some fun spots. Let's see what we got in the comments. Bang, bang. Sosa. Nick, I did it to start the show, and I said I wasn't going to do it again, but I couldn't. I had to. It's that fun. I enjoyed from the moment his music hit to the first bell, to the second bell, to everything. This kid's got something. He finishing the match with a blue thunder bomb, which I don't think it's called the blue thunder bomb. I think he's calling it something else. But maybe it's the blue thunder stinger. I think I might have heard. Either way, great catch coming off of a rebound jump from the ropes, spinning all the way around, taking a second to really get that extra grip, and then dropping him for the blue thunder bomb. Sosa has it. I'm terrified. I am terrified because it feels too good to be true that TNA got their hands on him before anybody else. I don't know if he's signed. I don't know if this was just come in for the taping. I don't know. But this is exactly the type of talent that TNA desperately needs. They've done a great job of bringing in known names to bring the crowd, to get the crowd excited. Guys like the Hardys, guys like Nick Nemeth, guys like, to a lesser extent, Elijah, guys like Mustafa Ali. They've been struggling to hold on to talent, or they've been struggling to get young talent in the door. When you have NXT, which is just absolutely doing everything they can to garner and to harness all the young talent in wrestling, all the people who would rather go to AEW, TNA has struggled to get exciting young stars. This feels exactly like what they need. The buzz on this kid is good. He delivered on his first Impact showing. Lock him down. Keep him away from NXT. Do not let him cross over. Do not let Shawn Michaels see him and get excited about him. Keep him in TNA. And you've got something really cool on your hands. I'm not saying this was my first exposure to him, really. It's been all hype so far, and I think he lived up to it tonight. But I'm not trying to oversell, but when you have something that the crowd reacts to this positively, bottle it up. Bottle it up and shake the bottle and let it explode, but let it explode in your yard, TNA. Great job from Ricky Sosa. He had a good dance partner in Brad Attitude. TNA, have him cross the line. If he hasn't already, have him cross the line and then have him cross over it again. See, almost done. I got so excited I didn't even finish the social media. But there you go. See, all done. See, painless. Mostly. I don't know. Might have hurt a little bit. But bravo to Ricky Sosa. Really looking forward to where he goes next. He feels like a perfect fit for the X Division. I'm salivating at the thought of Ricky Sosa versus Leon Slater. I'm salivating at the thought of Ricky Sosa versus Trey Miguel, the international champion. So many fun possibilities for him to go against. So many, and TNA is the home of all of them right now. So bravo to Sosa. Bravo to wrestling fans for willing this into existence. Bravo to TNA for letting it happen and striking while the iron's hot on this kid. And just bravo to everybody. This is a win. And I haven't felt a win for TNA in a while in terms of getting talent. So I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. So thank you, Ricky, and really excited for what comes next for you. Let's move to the main event. Let's go to the big stuff out the gate. As we had this Atlanta street fight between Moose and Cedric Alexander, as Cedric's system teammates are banned from ringside. Hello, Maria. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good night. I hope you watch the show tonight. If you didn't, I will do my best to make you feel like you did. But go check it out when you can. Especially, I was just singing the praises of young Ricky Sosa, who just made his TNA debut, his Impact debut. But as we go into this main event, as I said, the system was banned from ringside. It was going to be a 1v1 between Moose and Cedric. And man, do they really just have me convinced Alicia is going to turn at any point? I don't know why. I've been very honest. I've missed the last couple weeks. I don't know if they've hinted at it in any way. I'm struggling to believe that Alicia won't side with her husband, especially when she's so much better as a heel. I'm not going to push it, but man, I was on the edge of my seat the entire time thinking, wow, this is it. This is going to be the moment she betrays Moose. The system can't be there, but she's there. She's not technically part of the system. But I was pleasantly surprised that we didn't get it. And the match was better for it. This was a one-on-one drag-out slobber knocker of a match. Both of these guys just beating the absolute crap out of each other. Moose hitting all of his big spots, hitting the go to hell, a huge go to hell onto Cedric. There were chairs, there were tables, there was moves onto the outside. Neither man hesitated. Moose having a huge moment, kicking out of Cedric's brainbuster at one. Going to put Cedric through a table, gets pushed into a chair that's propped up into the corner. Eventually, he does put him through the table. There was a great spot where Moose hits a superplex off the top turnbuckle onto a pile of chairs. Cedric legs hitting them, just eating those chairs. This was a banger of a match and a nice return to form for Moose, who prior to being kicked out of the system was on a pretty lousy losing streak, having lost in this instance 2 matches in particular to Cedric. So this is a nice revenge. This is the start of his revenge tour against the system. Cedric Alexander down. We have Bear Bronson. We have Brian Myers, and we have Eddie Edwards. Maybe that's where Alicia finally turns. I don't know, but Moose looked good. I know it's been a joke that despite being kicked out, he's still been wearing system gear. Very glad to report for this street fight, he just wore black jeans and it suited him. I know this term gets overused, but man, does Moose just have aura to him? Does he just has it? He has that superstar factor. And again, I don't know if it's just the crowd loves like pumping their arm, but with Ricky Sosa, with Moose, it gets the crowd going. It really does. And I'm not going to pretend to say I understand, but it's fun. I can admit that. I am smart enough to say that I know I'm having fun when I do it. So fun matchup. Moose getting the big win, the much needed win as he begins his tour of revenge against the system. Bravo. I do like that Cedric feels imposing. He's not the leader of the group by any stretch. He's not the big guy of the group by any stretch. Like there's going to be there's always going to be the bigger guy in Bear Bronson. There's going to be the main eventer in Eddie Edwards. But I think he feels important enough to the group that he's not the pin guy. And he benefits from having Brian Myers in the group to be that guy. So really like this. I know a lot of us still do want Cedric in AEW to be part of the Hurt Syndicate. I said that right. Yeah, the Hurt Syndicate. But if he's not going to be there, I do think this is a fun way to go for him. So bravo, fun match, fun main event. The Tulsa King cast was certainly into it ringside. So bravo, crowd nailed it. Yeah, whether Alicia turns or not, we'll see. But so far, it's been working. And I do think she does help with the presentation for Moose. I don't think he needs her by any stretch, but it does help. Let's go to the comments real quick with Maria. Maria saying she saw the show. It was pretty solid. I'd agree. I don't think it was this incredible show, but it did have some solid standouts like the Sosa debut, this main event, just some fun segments in between. So good way for me, at least, to get reintroduced to TNA and to Impact. Maria saying, just because it didn't happen tonight doesn't mean it's not going to happen. She is evil. I'm going to agree. I think it'll probably be the Eddie Edwards match. I'd be shocked if it happened for Bear Bronson. Why do it for Brian Myers if Eddie's going to get it the next week or a couple weeks later. So, yeah, give it time. I think it's a matter of when, not a matter of if for the Alicia turn. Maria asking a great question here. Why has Carlos Silva been at ringside lately? I don't have the answer to that. I don't mind that he puts the championship around the champions after a title match. I don't mind that, especially if it's a new champion. I don't mind that bit, but he has just been around lately. I've heard, like, I know it's kind of a common sentiment right now amongst the TNA fan base that they're just not super hot on him, and it feels like he is just trying to get himself over. And I guess it's one of those things where it's like, I'm there every week. The crowd's just going to love me by association. If they enjoy watching the show, they're going to see my face every week, and they're going to enjoy seeing me every week. I don't know that that's necessarily going to work, but can't blame a guy for trying. It is funny to see the TNA fan base kind of turning on Silva and turning on a little bit, not necessarily to the degree that I feel, but turning on the TNA NXT partnership. And, you know, call me Quasimodo because I predicted this a long time ago, but none of this is shocking. And if you didn't get the Quasimodo bit, go watch The Sopranos. Great show. Great show. Anyway, moving on, we're going to go back to sort of the beginning of the show. Our first match of the night, which was just, it was something that we saw a couple times. There was a lot of, like, we saw it with the Ricky Sosa match. We saw it in a match after this too, where you have the established talent going up against, I don't want to say enhancement talent. Like, I don't want to be rude to Sinner and Saint, but definitely it felt like an exhibition match for the Hardys. You know, they got all their usual spots in. Damn. I don't know. The bar is pretty low there for TNA when it comes to management being on screen. Whether it's Dixie or Hogan and Bischoff, it's rough times. Very rough times. But the Hardys having a fun, you know, back and forth with Sinner and Saint, who I do like. I feel like they've been a little directionless since breaking up with Eric Young. But at this point, a lot of the divisions for TNA just need bolstering. You don't necessarily need everybody to be a standout. Sometimes you just need bodies, and the tag division definitely needs that. We're going to get into it a little bit more, that they are, you know, sort of packing it on a little bit. But between the Hardys, between Sinner and Saint, between the Righteous, between the System, the Nemeths, 5 is a lot better than where we were, I feel like, a month and a half ago. So I will happily take it at the moment. But the finish of the match coming as Jeff locks in his new submission move, something that he had been hyping up for a long time. And I know this isn't the first instance of him using it in TNA now, but it's definitely the first instance of me covering it. And I love the name of the move, the Spinal Destination. That's just fun. As a horror fan, as a Jeff fan, I love it. Spinal Destination. He's got it locked in while Matt hits a twist of fate onto the other teammate. 1, 2, not even 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry. Jeff gets the submission win, the tap out victory, and Hardy's look strong going into Sacrifice. What up, Fernando? How you doing, pal? Thank you for being here tonight. Look, I am going to be as real as I can be. I am a Hardy mark. Jeff Hardy is my favorite wrestler of all time. So there's certainly a bias. There's certainly an apologist nature when it comes to me and the Hardys and me and Jeff. But I do think what I'm about to say is objectively true. The Hardys are incredibly over still. And beyond being incredibly over still, they are working a lot better than they've worked in a long time. And I can't just say that to Jeff. It's true of both Jeff and Matt. I watched them in AEW. I watched them in the last year or two of WWE. And I think I agreed with most people. Matt was looking really, really stiff in AEW. He was not looking He was not looking as fluid as you would hope a professional wrestler looks. But since coming back to TNA and since reuniting with Jeff in TNA, the Hardys have been working really strong matches. And yes, do they use some bells and whistles to get around some of their weaknesses and some of their, the things that come with age? Absolutely. But undeniably, they are one of the top acts in TNA for the company. So as long as that's true, I've got no complaints about them continuing to go. I think with how wrestling has changed in the last 20 years, obviously longevity is something that we're seeing more and more of from top talent. Guys used to be done within a few years. Matt and Jeff have been wrestling, I think they said 34 years. I don't even want to think about that right now, because that's really making me think some things. But all in all, if they can go, why not? I'm going to be happy to watch my favorite wrestler continue. And he's doing it in a place that he's thriving. I would have loved to see the Hardys win the AEW tag team titles to say that they, collected every infinity stone of the tag team scene. But alas, bad personal decisions on Jeff's part. No surprise. Made sure that wasn't part of the show, wasn't part of the act, wasn't in the cards. All in all, though, I think this is the right move for everybody involved when it comes to TNA and the Hardys. Fernando saying, with Road Dogg fired from WWE, let's get the New Age Outlaws versus the Hardys. I don't think you're going to be able to pry Billy Gunn away from AEW, but hey, yeah, you got the New Age Outlaws versus Cope and Christian at All In, and I don't know that I'll go all in with it, but I would definitely watch that on a Dynamite or a Collision. 5-second pose versus, oh, you didn't know? Oh, God. Good times. Good attitude era times. But after the match, after beating Sinner and Saint, Jeff then hits a swanton onto one of them, I guess just so the crowd could see it, which, let's be real, defeats the purpose of him implementing a submission finisher, which was just designed so he doesn't have to take certain bumps anymore. But Jeff is Jeff, and certain things will just never change. He hits the swanton after the match, but then as they're celebrating, they pick up Sinner and Saint and shake their hands. That's silly. Why attack the guy after the match to then be like, you're cool, I like you. Good job, kids. It was super silly, but it was a nice endorsement from the Hardys to Sinner and Saint. But maybe just don't hit the swanton next time, Jeff. Unnecessary. Foul on the play. Anyway, going to our first backstage segment of the night, which I gotta let me fix this real quick. There you go. We have the Elegance brand backstage with the hardest working woman in TNA, Mean Gia Miller. Gia asking, yeah, Maria, that was weird. I didn't get it. I thought it was silly, but I fully admit to being an apologist for the Hardys. Sometimes the rule of cool is all that matters. We got to see a swanton. But as Gia is with M, Heather, the concierge, and Mr. Elegance, no Ash to be seen for some reason. They kind of alluded to that being a thing later in the night, but they didn't really lock in why that was. But we're getting Mr. Elegance in a match next week, his debut on Impact, his debut in TNA as a wrestler and not just as a valet. So that'll be fun to see. It'll be fun to see what comes of that. But as they're talking about all the elder knockouts who have come back and have sort of caused trouble for them, people like Mickey James, people like ODB, great name right there. Really happy to see her back on TV. They accuse Gia of being happy that it's been happening. And as she says that she is, they sort of berate her. They sort of, knock her down a little bit verbally. And that's when Goldilocks comes to Gia's aid. Goldilocks being a former backstage correspondent in the same way Gia was. She comes to Gia's aid, warns them to back off. Otherwise, she might bring some more of her old friends to come deal with them. Nice tease of what could come. A lot of expectations about the older knockouts, past generation knockouts, coming back and dealing with this feud with I almost said Dana Brooke. Ash by Elegance. So nice little blast from the past. And I anybody who defends Gia Miller is okay in my book. Fernando saying it was kind of heelish of the Hardys. I don't know what it like. Commentary kind of painted it as they're sending a message to the system and to the teams that are gunning for their tag titles, which I get, but it doesn't change the fact that they attacked somebody who was down and then was like, good job, kid. It was more silly than anything else. I really don't get it, but rule of cool. How do I feel about Mr. Elegance? Great question. I think he's a good addition to the group. It adds a little different dynamic to the group. It's not often that you see predominantly women groups have a male member. I think it's awesome when they do. I think whether it's played for laughs or whether it's played for an imposing nature as protection. Either way, I always think it's interesting. As for the character himself, they're playing it well for the laughs. He's a himbo. He's someone who really shouldn't be in his position, but has somehow lucked into it. And he's been delivering for them pretty much every week, helping them get wins, helping them retain the tag titles, the Knockouts tag titles. So too early for me to judge without seeing him in a match. I don't think it's really going to matter. He serves a purpose, and I think he serves that purpose well. So good on Mr. Elegance, and we'll see. He could surprise all of us. I'm going in open-minded. Maria saying, bring back Tracy Brooks. I would love that. Tracy, one of the TNA Knockout OGs, an original Knockout. It would be fun to see her, especially interacting with her husband, with Frankie Kazarian, whether it's to placate this king of TNA nonsense or whether it's to, bring him back to reality. I think she'd serve a better purpose in a managerial role than it would be getting in the ring. Sorry, Tracy, nothing against you, but that was always where she shined. So it would be great. I love Tracy Brooks. I love so many of those knockouts from yesteryear. So absolutely, give them their flowers. Maria saying, remember the Valley meet during the Attitude? I do remember meet. I do. Random one, but absolutely. God. Wrestling is seriously low on genuinely good valets, genuinely good managers. WWE, you have Heyman. AEW, you have Don Callis. Stokely Hathaway to a lesser extent. TNA, you have the concierge and he plays a good role. I wouldn't mind more. I absolutely wouldn't mind more. Yes, the beautiful people. I love Velvet Sky. I've met her so many times. She's such a sweetheart. Angelina Love, absolutely. Just both of those women helped define what it meant to be a knockout back then. Them, Gail Kim, Awesome Kong, Taryn Terrell, so many greats. So many greats who offered so much to the Knockouts division and TNA in general. So would be happy to see them. Speaking of knockouts, we're going to our first and unfortunately only knockouts match of the night as Indy Hartwell took on Kelsey Heather. This was another instance similar to the Hardys where it felt almost like an exhibition for Indy. Indy, who is hungry for that knockouts title, makes quick work of Kelsey, winning eventually with the Hertz Donut. I don't want to say she was aggressive, but she was wrestling with a purpose. That's really how it felt. No games, no extras. She was just cutting to the point and got the quick win. After the match, she gets on the mic, says she doesn't want to just simply exist. She's not just happy to be there anymore. She wants the Knockouts title. She says that Ariana Grace doesn't deserve the Knockouts title, and she's telling her, not asking her, she's telling her she wants a shot at the championship. At this point, Ariana comes out with stacks, says that Indy is nowhere near her level, and that there is a line to get to her and to that Knockouts title, which she's not wrong about. Danny Luna, who's got a guaranteed title shot when she comes back. Laying Lee, the former Knockouts champion, probably has a rematch coming. There are a lot of people vying for that belt. And similar to how I was speaking about the tag titles before, it speaks to the Knockouts division, which has been kind of weak lately. on both divisions, the tag division and the singles division, that we're putting bodies back into this division. Not every one of them needs to be a ready-made star. Sometimes we just need bodies to pad it out. And I think we're sort of in the in-between. We have lower card talent. We have upper talent, main event talent in the Knockouts division. Develop some of these stars a little bit more. Mara Sade, do it. You're doing a great job with her. You did a great job with her and Ryan Nemeth. Build off that. Have her go for the Knockouts title. Get her a partner. Go for the Knockouts tag titles. As much as we all, I don't know about we all, but some of us aren't crazy about Tessa Blanchard. If you're insisting on having her on your roster, do something with her. Her and Victoria Crawford, have them go for the Knockouts tag titles. Have her go for the Knockouts world title. Not saying she should win, but put her in a match. If you're keeping her, do something with her. Ash by Elegance is back, and that's great. I'm really happy that she's back. If you're going to pad things out with the older Knockouts, do it. Indy Hartwell, Zaya Brookside, Legging Lee, Danny Luna, you've got the talent. Cultivate it. Make something of it. Let's go to the comments real quick here. Maria saying, whatever happened to her push that she was getting when she first got there? If you're speaking about Indy, she did get a Knockouts title match, just she lost. And now she's sort of in the rebuilding phase. And I think that's for the best, because I think if she just won it out the gate, it wouldn't mean so much. And now they're giving the crowd a reason to cheer her. So I'm all in on this. I love Indy. Good talent, fun talent, and a hardworking talent. That's key. So rooting for Indy too. I'm not necessarily saying she should be the one to take it off Grace, but getting the Knockouts title this year. Fernando saying that he hates Ariana Grace being Knockouts champion. It's disrespectful to TNA. I think the big thing is, again, as I said, the Knockouts division has been a little thin. Just has been. Losing Masha Slamovich was huge. For the right reasons, we shouldn't reward bad behavior. But losing Masha did bad things to them. Jordan Grace before her was another big loss. They lost some of their heavy hitters in the Knockouts division. So rebuilding was always going to be a thing. It's been a little bumpier. And I think there are other, if you had to do it with an NXT talent, I think there's other NXT talent I would have done it with. Like, I think Kalani Jordan was good in the role that she played, but she was stuck in a bad position where she was essentially playing heel in TNA, but was still kind of a babyface in NXT. It was hard to gauge her. It was hard to know how to react to her. I think there are a lot of people, if you're going to go the NXT route, that made a little bit more sense. But given the Ariana Santino connection, I get it. It serves a bigger story with Santino having gotten manipulated by her, which keeps him in the crosshairs of Daria Ray. Time will tell. I'm hoping it's not a long title reign, but it just further proves something that I've been saying since day one of NXT TNA, which is TNA is being painted as lesser than NXT. Pains me to say it, but TNA is the stepping stone to NXT. Ariana Grace winning the TNA Knockouts World Championship is more of a stat padding for her than it is a true achievement. And that's a bummer. But this is what TNA management corporate wants, and they're succeeding. The same way Stax is international champion. Drove me nuts, but Stax could say he won a singles title. It's a bummer, but you got to move on. You got to accept the cards that are dealt, not the cards that you wish you had in your hand. Maria's saying she loves Tessa. She doesn't care what people have to say. And Fernando saying nothing Tessa was accused of was proven. Look, I'm not going to get into it too much because I don't want to derail the podcast. I don't want to derail the conversation. Ultimately, I'm a big believer where there's smoke, there's fire. And multiple women who don't have a reason to come out and accuse her of certain bad behaviors. Multiple women had come out and done it. And sure, maybe if you want to argue that, look at all, they were all indie talent who were trying to make a name off of her. Okay, but Chelsea Green was one of them. Chelsea Green, who was so far removed from anything Tessa. She spoke up about it on multiple occasions. So again, I'm not trying to convince one person one way or the other. You have every right to feel how you feel. If you feel like nothing was proven in your eyes, that's fair. But I am choosing to believe when there are so many alarms going off, there's a problem somewhere. And at the very least, let's say all of her bad personal behaviors, all the things in her private life, all the stuff behind the scenes weren't an issue. There is no denying she handled losing the TNA world title terribly. She handled the issues with the pandemic terribly. It was take away all personal issues. It was very unprofessional. And she really put TNA in a bad spot after they put a lot of chips into her. So that alone is enough for me to not be excited for Tessa. But when you combine it with all those personal claims about very, very bad behavior, it becomes hard to support her. No denying, she is an incredible talent. In the ring, excellent. I was there at the original All In when she won the Fatal 4-Way with Chelsea. And I forget, unfortunately, who the other two talent were. But I recognize how good she is. Sometimes you got to stand on business and say when something's wrong. And that's how I believe. Again, not trying to change anything for anybody. You're entitled to your opinion. But I am not necessarily clamoring for it. I agree. She should have gave the belt back. And that's not even necessarily what they wanted. They wanted her to just cut some vignettes. She wouldn't do it. She wouldn't do it on her phone. She wouldn't film some videos saying this is what we're doing and I'm not coming back, so maybe I got to really. She didn't do anything. Unprofessional. But let's move on. We're talking a lot about somebody who's not even on the show tonight. So we go backstage to the Hardys and the Righteous. The Righteous complimenting the Hardys on their win over Saint and Sinner. And the Hardys thank Vincent for essentially sacrificing himself to protect them from the system. The Righteous then sing the praises of the Hardys, saying that they're a legendary tag team that gives so much back to the business. And the Hardys say, we've learned, we're not bigger than anything. We're not bigger than any company. We're not bigger than TNA. We're not bigger than anybody. And very humbling thing to say. Very respectful thing for the Hardys to say, because arguably maybe they are bigger than TNA. But again, Mark, who am I? The Righteous do warn them that the system do want the tag titles, and as long as they're with the Righteous, they will have protection. They're then interrupted by the Nemeths, Nick and Ryan, who say they want the tag titles. Not to focus too much on the system, but give them a look. Ryan reminding them that he did, in fact, pin Jeff Hardy previously. So, again, talking about it, the tag division is padding out a little bit. I'm not clamoring for the Hardys to lose the tag titles anytime soon, especially as they just became the second longest reigning tag team to hold those titles. I would love to see them become the longest reigning tag champs of all time. But whether they do or do not, at least they've got some interesting matchups ahead of them. After this, we have a very, very fun six-man tag. But let's go to the comments real quick. Maria asking, should we trust the Righteous? I don't know. Look, I will be real with you. Like I mentioned a couple times, I've been off TNA a little bit. And while I've kept up with them for the most part, before I took a little hiatus from Gympact, I was not crazy about the Hardys Righteous story. It felt very convoluted. It felt very forced. The Righteous were not getting good reactions, and it didn't feel like they deserved to be in the spot that they were in. Things have turned around a little bit. The crowd is reacting a little bit better to it. The story feels messy, but it feels a little clearer. I would like it if I don't know how long you could keep this going. From a logistic standpoint, let's say they do become a group. It doesn't really work because you have 2 tag teams together. What's the other team supposed to vie for if they're in a group with the tag team champions? From a logistic standpoint, them being together doesn't work. If they are just playing the Hardys, it does kind of make the Hardys look bad because you've been in this game for too long to get manipulated. Like, you should know somewhat better at this point. You're too damn old, guys. 34 years. 34 years. But I am more intrigued than I have been in a while. I still am not going to be thrilled if they take the titles off the Hardys, but at least now it will feel a little more earned than it would have if they had successfully taken the titles off of them in their first challenge. Time will tell. They're definitely being manipulative, but we'll see. Maria saying broken Matt with the ringtones. With the Righteous. I can see it feels like they want Jeff more because they've been playing on Jeff's insecurities a little bit more and they've been playing with his head a little bit more. But if you're going to bring back Broken Matt, the Righteous feels like the right group to do it with. Brother Nero is a different story, but yes, it'll be fun. And then just going to these comments, Ryan sucks. Look, Ryan Nemeth plays his part very, very well. Sometimes he gets overused, but what he does well, and that's be very, very, very annoying. Very few guys thrive in that position, but he thrives in it. So bravo to Ryan Nemeth. Maria saying if Ryan's brother was not who he is working at Target as an assistant manager. Look, all accounts, Ryan Nemeth is a very good hand and a good guy. I'm happy that he's got this gimmick with him. I remember when he was in AEW as part of I don't think it was the Wingmen. I think it was whatever. No, it might have been it was the Wingmen with Peter Avalon, JD Drake. It was fun. It was fun. So I think there's a place for everybody. You just got to know where to slot them. And I think him being his brother's not mouthpiece, but his brother's herald works. So I think he would aim a little higher than Target assistant manager, but I get what you're saying. All right, moving on back to this 6-man tag as we have the TNA International Champion Trey Miguel teaming up with BDE and Rich Swann against Mustafa Ali and the Great Hands, Skylar and Hotch. Order 4. Let me say. This new look for Mustafa feels like a main event look. The chopped off hair feels like a main event look. I have never been crazy about the Great Hands. Another tag team for the division, by the way. That's 6 teams off the top of my head now. I've never been super crazy about them. I appreciate them. I recognize that they are good. And I recognize that a lot of talent have high opinions of them. So I take that into account. Tonight was the first time in a long while where I saw the vision. I saw it. Mustafa flanked by all of Order 4, Tasha Steelz, the Great Hands, Agent Zero. That feels like a main event gimmick. It feels like a main event stable. The 3 of them looked imposing. They looked like they had purpose. I got it. I got it. I'm enjoying BDE getting more exposure. I think partnering him up with people is the way to go. I think I think commentary mentioned that at this point in his career, he's had like 30 or so career matches. Maybe it sounds like a lot to you guys. It's not. And that's not a criticism. It's a compliment that where he is right now, after having only had 30 matches, it feels like he's really finding his footing. And I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him. Putting him with Rich Swann, a veteran who can match his style. Putting him with Trey Miguel, who is very exciting. It takes a lot of pressure off of BDE to perform on his own. So I think matches like this very much work and very much serve their purpose. People look great without overexposing them or without shining a light on some of their shortcomings. So fun matchup between all six guys. Absolutely a lot of high flying, a lot of aura farming, if I'm going to be real with you. Finish of the match after lots of dives, after lots of catches, after lots of drops. We see Tasha Steelz try to get involved and stop the baby faces from getting the win, but she is chased off by Jada Stone, who did get dropped, by the way, which I think is a nice touch. She couldn't get one over on Tasha, but she was able to remove her from the equation. I think that's a nice way of playing that to an extent. But after all of that confusion, eventually Trey gets the win with the lightning spiral onto Hotch. 1, 2, 3. The good guys stand victorious. And as we are pulling out of it, we see that Mustafa is sort of eyeing up Trey and specifically eyeing up the TNA International title. I am a little conflicted because while I would just love to have gold around Mustafa's waist again, I really want him to go for that world title. I don't think he should be taking the belt off Santana next week or next month or anything, but I would almost rather not have a belt on him for a couple of months, 3 months, 4 months, and then he just wins the world title. I think that would serve him a lot better. But let's see. I'm not going to poo-poo any success for Mustafa, who has just killed it on every occasion and is proudly waving the TNA flag right now. He just did an interview where he spoke about his loyalty to TNA after them having given him a second chance at his career. And he feels like everything he's done in TNA and the Indies has outshined anything he's done in WWE. So, yeah, pull the trigger on Mustafa because this guy, he's a company guy for you. He's got a great look now. I mean, he had a great look before, but now it feels that's a star look. We then go backstage where Mike Santana is waiting in a hallway, presumably for Steve Maclin. Instead comes Daria Ray, who tells him if he lays one finger on Maclin, she will strip him of the TNA World Title. Santana has a great line where he says he feels that Daria's only reason for being in the company is to make his life hell and to ruin everything for everyone. And she says, "You have no idea." I love when a bad guy revels in being a bad guy. Like there's no pretense behind it sometimes. And Daria really, she nails it. It's at this point Santino comes and, he's having a measuring contest of sorts with Daria and says, "I'll one up it. If Steve Maclin touches Santana, he's fired again, this time for real, and all traces of him would be removed from TNA history." I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you scrub a guy. Like, there's only one guy who I've ever seen successfully scrubbed from professional wrestling, and he did something a lot worse than anything Steve Maclin did. But Daria is very upset that Santino's matching her energy, and he doesn't hold back. It's at this point that Maclin comes through the doors, face to face with Santana, is excited to get into that ring and to deliver his apology. I I might have things a little out of order, and if I do, I apologize. But we then had a backstage segment with Ariana Grace, who was with her fiance Stax, saying she's not happy that Indy Hartwell presumed that she could just challenge her for the Knockouts title. As they're walking in the hallway, they see Indy going over something with somebody backstage, and Stax distracts her, allowing Ariana to hit her with the belt over and over. They then run out of there. They're chased out of there by Santino, who is angrier than I've ever seen him, and kicks them out of the building. It's at this point very just sloppily and funny and silly. Other knockouts come to Indy's aid and criticize Santino for not getting help, even though that was the first thing he did. He called for help as soon as he could. It was just silly to look at. And even Indy wasn't super selling the beatdown. It was just kind of a funny, silly segment, but gets the point across, continues the feud between Santino and Stax and his daughter, Ariana, and makes things more personal between Indy and Ariana Grace. So let's see. Maybe it will be Indy who takes that title off of her. We then go to the ring with Steve Maclin, who is there to deliver his apology to his, I guess now, former friend, Tom Hannafin, and to the TNA audience. Maclin having punched Hannafin in the gut after Hannafin was trying to speak to him either last week or 2 weeks ago, trying to get him to stop with all the nonsense he's been doing after having been fired by TNA. He delivers the most insincere apology to the audience, to Hannafin, saying if that Hannafin was a real man, he would have stepped back up and he would have taken that punch and then just gotten back in Maclin's face. Good heel work from Maclin. He did stumble a couple of times. I think it's because he was legitimately reading the apology and reading the promo of sorts, but he did stumble here and there, and the crowd, they booed him the way they were supposed to, but I feel like he got in his own head more than anything else. The entire time, Santana was standing in the crowd, and I'm looking forward to this match. I am a big Maclin guy. I am a big Maclin defender, and I'm not rooting for him to take the title off Santana by any stretch of the imagination. There's just no way. But I do think him being in the main event suits him. I think this new look where he's shaven is kind of creepy. Like, it suits him as a heel weirdly. But I think this is going to be a fun match. I think Sacrifice is the right type of pay-per-view to do it. It's not one of their A-tier pay-per-views. So let Maclin get the world title match and let Santana get a big win over a former world champion. Maria saying this whole thing with Steve Maclin has been lazy and dumb. I have said time and time and time again, I hate the Feast or Fired stipulation. I think it's so stupid. And while I'd rather a bad storyline, which is, I think, partially what we're getting here, like, I think I would agree with Maria. I do think it's kind of lazy how they've been handling things. I would rather this than a guy get legitimately fired the way they used to back in the day. So, bummer that I think this could have been handled better, but I do think Maclin was in desperate need of a heel turn. I wish they would align him with people, because I think he does need a group around him or just somebody to bounce off of. Like, some of his most popular stuff has been those vignettes that he was doing about the army and everything. And he acknowledged that in this promo, saying, maybe I was just doing that to get everybody on my side, and I don't really give a shit about any of that. I think that's fantastic heel work. Fantastic heel work. But even those segments, he was bouncing off of Eric Young. I don't know who you'd pair him up with, but I think pairing him up with people would be good. Maybe Sinner and Saint. Maybe. We got close to it with Eric Young, who was trying to get him into it, but I don't know. Either way, I think there's potential for this stuff with Maclin. I think it needs some tweaking. Maria saying Macklin could have at least stayed away from TV for like 3 months or something when Daniels got fired. He was the Curry man for a year and came back. I am inclined to agree, but again, it felt like this whole thing was just designed to turn him heel. And I mean, it worked. It's just it shined a light on a very poor concept that TNA likes to utilize every year. But great question. Steve Macklin with the system. I don't know, because I think that group hitting 5 people, not including Alicia, is too much. Because at this point, everybody has a slot. Like, granted, even if you add a 5th man, everybody would still be able to go for a title. Like, you could have the tag titles, you could have the X Division title, you could have the international title and the world title. But I don't know if he suits that group right now. I think there's somewhere you could slot him. I can't see it at the moment. But we'll see. I want good things for him. We then go to the last match we're going to cover tonight, but a fun matchup between AJ Francis and Elijah. AJ Francis, who has just recently re-signed with TNA, is going to keep him in TNA, I think, at least through 2026. I don't know about 2027. Fun match. This is Elijah's first match since the coffin casket match. Something I didn't mention about same applying to Mustafa Ali, except Elijah won that match. Highlight of the match move-wise was something that I just never expected from Elijah. I've never really considered Elijah to be a great worker, but he had a great spot here as he was hitting the old school walk across the ropes, holding Francis's arm, hitting a destroyer. Just a great-looking Canadian destroyer, or as they called it, the Drifter Destroyer here. Fun bit. Fun match between these guys. It should be noted that Frankie Kazarian was on commentary at ringside, and that's what led to the finish. As they were outside jabbering, Elijah just throws water onto the king of TNA. Kazarian takes umbrage to that, distracts Elijah just enough for Francis to hit him with a massive chokeslam. 1, 2, 3. AJ Francis gets the win. I think this was the right call. At this point, both Francis and Kazarian are beating down Elijah, who gets saved by a returning hometown man who had been beaten down by Francis either last week or 2 weeks ago. So it's very clear TNA does not know where to put Elijah. They tried putting him in the main event scene, didn't really sit well. They had him have a good feud with Mustafa, but it just feels overall directionless. If you want to partner him up with Hometown Man, I don't think that's really the right move for either guy, although I think it benefits Hometown Man more than it benefits Elijah. But probably just put the international title on Elijah sooner than later. Like, it's almost a shame because it feels like Mustafa would be the guy to take it off of Trey Miguel, but you should not revisit Elijah versus Mustafa right now, not for a little while. So I don't know. He needs a title. He needs something. Whether you're going to finally put him with the Righteous or not, it's got to be something. Let's go to the comments real quick. Maria, I got to strongly disagree with you on this one. Maria saying AJ Styles, my God. AJ Francis is trash, saying she wouldn't re-sign AJ Francis for 50 cents. I got to strongly disagree with you. I think he has been worth every penny, which is far more than 50 cents for TNA. He is a great heel. He's a great utility heel. You could put him in the main event and get a good challenger and a good match. You could put him in the mid card where he's going to be a lot more imposing. He was great in the tag division when he was teaming with Rich Swann. I still think it's a mistake that group is over. I'm happy that Swann is doing stuff, I guess, now with BDE, but First Class was a good act. I'm hoping Casey Navarro comes back and they just kind of ignore everything they did and he and Francis get back together. You need good big men and you need good talkers. And personally, I think he fits both roles. He has drastically upped his game since being in WWE, and I think he's a great example of someone going to TNA and successfully rehabilitating themselves. I hope more people get to see it, Maria. I hope you get to see it at some point. If you don't, no pressure. But I do think AJ Francis has been an incredible signing for TNA. I don't want to put like it's not. I don't want to put it on the level of say what Swerve did for AEW, but TNA gobbling Francis up was an incredible grab for somebody that many people wrote off as just being a joke. So I cannot sing the praises of AJ Francis enough personally. Marie also saying the hometown man is also garbage. More inclined to agree with you. It's fun for the pop. Like as somebody who's been in the crowd for a hometown man like segment, it's fun. But I agree. It's not something that should be getting focus on TV. Not really. Not right now. But glad that he exists. I mean, I like Diener. Like I remember early Diener was so fun and so good. So, you know, I want good things for him, but I don't know where you slot Diener right now either. Anywho, we then had an Eric Young backstage promo where he called out the injured X Division champion, Leon Slater, saying how it's just a matter of time before they cross horns, and Eric Young promises to take the X Division championship from Young Slater. We're going to finish on something that I truly do not know what the hell I was watching. TNA has been bringing back Rosemary. Very happy to have her back. 1, great for the Knockouts division. 2, I like Rosemary. I don't know what this was. I was shocked in 2026 to be seeing Johnny Swinger on my television. It was a fun, nice little weird throwback to somebody I never thought I would see again. But here we are. We had Johnny Swinger. We had Dango. We had Sinner and Saint. We had Alicia. We had somebody else. And we had Ryan Nemeth in a dress. I don't know what the hell this was. No idea what this was. It was very weird. Rosemary was talking to somebody who was invisible that was then revealed to be the Bunny. It was Allie. So happy to see her back in wrestling. I know she had an unfortunate end with AEW. She's no longer partnered, obviously, with her husband. She's no longer with Butcher and Blade. But she accomplished so much in TNA. And to see her reunited with Rosemary, to see her reunited with TNA in general, great move. Another body, another notable name for that Knockouts division. Wins across the board, kids. So, good job. Good. Happy to see both of those women back. Don't know what the hell that segment was. And I think we're going to get a few more of them because I think she's covering all the sins, all the deadly sins. And this was her second one. I think the first one happened while I was gone. So that means I think we're getting at least 5 more of these. Super confused, but I'm in. Let's go to the comments before we wrap things up. Diener and ODB back together. If ODB is down, I am all for it. Absolutely all for it. And Maria's saying she wants Havoc back. I like Havoc. I did. I think I love having a big body type in the Knockouts division and just women's divisions in general. WWE right now has a few of them between Nia Jax, Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez, and now Lash Legend. AEW, Megan Bayne, Lena Cross. Not too many bigger. Nyla Rose, who unfortunately I cannot remember the last time I saw her on my television. TNA, Havoc filled a very great role. So I would love to see her back. She was fun bouncing off of Rosemary. I miss Taya Valkyrie in the Knockouts division. I wish she was doing more in AEW or Ring of Honor. I know she's with MXM, but yeah, put them all back in the Knockouts division. Either way, agree with you. Havoc being back would be cool. Rosemary is perfect for the Wyatt family. Yes, I'm going to keep it TNA. I think she'd be good for the Righteous. Add a third, let it be Rosemary. Could work. But all right, guys, that was TNA. That was Impact. Thank you so much for coming by. I really enjoyed tonight's show. Like I said, it's been rough these last few weeks. I had to really kind of push myself to keep watching TNA for a little bit. It feels like something's been missing, whether it's just the WWE partnership was kind of draining my enjoyment from it, or whether it was just the fact that I thought they made some very questionable decisions once they hit AMC. I don't know. All that said, this was a nice way to get reacquainted. I am looking forward to Sacrifice at the end of the month. I will do my best to cover it with you guys. I'm going to do my best to be here for every Gympact until then and after then. But fun show. I got what I needed. I got the Hardys. Mike Santana was fun. Fun main event with Moose and Cedric Alexander. And seriously, the most important thing, new fresh talent like Ricky Sosa. Sign more of them. Lock them away from WWE. Lock them away from AEW. You have two young talents that people are excited to see right now. Leon Slater and now Ricky Sosa. Build around them. Make them TNA guys. And the rest will just take care of itself, in my opinion. Maria asking a good question. Will Moose be champion again? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say he doesn't. I don't think he has any desire really to go to WWE or AEW. I'm not saying it's completely off the table, but I don't think there is anybody who waves the flag higher, harder, and faster than Moose. He is Mr. TNA. I think once he gets through the system, he's going to get the title. Eventually, I would not be shocked if he was champion again this year. I'm not saying in the front half of the year. I'm not saying the back half of the year. But I think sometime this year, he will win the World Championship one more time. At the very least, one more time. And we'll see. We'll see. TNA's main event scene is not as sparse as or barren as everything else. There is talent in the main event, but exciting main eventers are what they need. And I think, like I said, whether it's this or bell to bell, Moose gets the crowd going. He does. So not the worst idea to put the title on him at some point. Not that the crowd is tired of Santana. I don't think anybody is. I'm really happy with him as champion right now. But when, not if, for Moose being world champion again. Thank you so much, Maria, for saying this was a very good post show. I do my best. I do my best, and I'm better when you guys are here. So thank you so much for stopping by. But guys, this was the Gympact Zone. You know the deal. If you're one of our regulars like Maria, Fernando, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. If you're new, and we certainly have had new commenters, new viewers over this last month or so, thank you. If you're not subscribed, do it. It'd be cool. We appreciate you. The more we have of you, the more we could do on our end. So it means a lot. And check us out. We will be covering AEW Revolution this Sunday. Matt most likely will be covering Raw on Monday. We'll, of course, be back for Dynamite on Wednesday, Rev and I. And like I said, Gympact is back. I did the spiel in the beginning, but I'll do it again. Check us out on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, or Blue Sky. Check us out on any of them. I don't know all the names off the top of my head, but Mark It Down Pod. And when it comes to YouTube, we are the only Mark It Down that matters. Guys, I'm James Gisanti. This is the Mark It Down Podcast. I'm exhausted. Have a great night. I'll talk to you later.